Hey folks, Agnes here, 37, female, ready to spill the tea on my crazy life. So imagine this, a girl growing up surrounded by trapeze artists, fire eaters, and clowns. That was me, Agnes, the unintentional circus sensation. My adopted circus family didn't have much choice but to throw me into the limelight when they discovered I could bend in ways that would make her pretzel jealous. Flexibility had its perks, I guess. Life in the circus ain't no walk in the park, let me tell you. We were a bunch of misfits surviving in a dying industry. Gigs were as unpredictable as the weather, and when the crowds didn't show up, desperation set in. That's when we turned to the gray areas of legality to make sure we had enough cash to keep going. Now, I never knew my birth parents. I was just a toddler when the circus adopted me. I suppose they saw my potential and thought, hey, we can make some money off this kid. Not the most glamorous start to life, but hey, at least I got some cool circus skills out of it. But being the circus oddity came at a cost. No school dances, no high school crushes, just a relentless grind of circus life. At 16, I couldn't take it anymore. I wanted out. I wanted a taste of normalcy. So I hatched a plan to escape. But oh boy, my circus family wasn't having it. They caught wind of my little plot, and from that day forward, it was like living in a circus-themed prison. Tighter schedules, harsher rules. They wanted to squeeze every last drop of profit out of me. And let me tell you, the means they used to keep the money flowing weren't exactly honorable, as I mentioned before. Robberies, sketchy deals, selling unprescribed Adderall to desperate souls. Yeah, we did it all. I started feeling more like a cash cow than a human being. Enough was enough. The resentment grew, and I dreamt of a life beyond the big top. I wanted to break free from the chains of the circus, taste freedom, and pursue dreams that didn't involve juggling or walking a tightrope. But it seemed impossible, and I was growing more and more desperate as the years went by. So 4 years flew by, and my circus family had taken a really dark turn. We went from being quirky performers to full-on hardcore criminals. Drugs, shady deals, and a whole lot of messed up chaos. It was a living nightmare I couldn't wake up from. I'd seen things that would give you chills, and I was done living that cruel, tough life. My circus family wasn't a family anymore. They were just a bunch of messed up drug lords. I had to get out, and I needed a plan. Lucky for me, I had one true friend in that chaotic mess. Let's call him Jack. Jack and I hatched a plan to escape the circus nightmare, and as fate would have it, when the heat was on and my family was about to catch me escaping again, Jack took the fall for both of us. Brave soul. I promised Jack that I'd find a way to contact him once I was free. I was determined to bring him into the light and away from the circus's twisted grip. 2 years later, I finally made a life for myself. I landed a waitress gig and snagged a small, dingy apartment. It wasn't much, but it was freedom, and that's all I needed. I found Jack on Facebook, but communication was tricky, as you can imagine. The circus drug lord ringleader was keeping a close eye on him, making regular contact near impossible. We'd exchange a few words once a month, and every time I'd reassure Jack that things would work out for us in the end. All right, buckle up, folks, because the roller coaster continues. So there I was, settling into my new life in Connecticut, thinking I could finally catch a break from the circus nightmare. But you know, life had other plans. One day I decided to check on Jack like I would usually do. But what I saw made my heart drop. A terrifying text from Jack's account explained that the other family members had found his secret social media profile. Panic mode initiated. They threatened me, said that they were loaded now from all the illegal activity and ready to hunt me down for revenge. I pleaded and swore I wouldn't spill their secrets to the authorities, but they weren't buying it. Loose ends needed tying up, and I was on their list. Now imagine living with the constant fear that you're being watched. I changed my social media and my identity, but somehow those circus creeps always found a way to reach me. Every year or so, an ominous message with a clown emoji would pop up. I found you. It was like a never-ending horror show, and I didn't know what to do. You might be wondering why I didn't run to the police. Fear. Pure, unadulterated fear. I'd been involved in their illegal activities, and although I was forced and coerced into it, I was terrified of getting into trouble myself. So I kept moving, changing places, hoping to outrun the ghosts of my past. For a while, Connecticut seemed like a safe haven, thank God. I got odd jobs and gardener gigs, just trying to make ends meet. That's when I met Clinton, a nice guy who hired me for various odd jobs around his place. Clinton and I hit it off. He would always laugh at my jokes, and he found it cool that I had a background in the circus. Eventually, we started dating. Things felt normal, happy even. For a while, I could almost forget the circus nightmare that kept lurking in the shadows. Clinton and I were on fire. Every day he'd tell me he loved me, and I was falling head over heels for the guy. Love was in the air, and it wasn't long before we decided to throw a shotgun wedding. Yep, we were so crazy about each other that we just couldn't wait. We didn't have a big fancy ceremony or anything, just a couple of lovebirds saying their vows in a little chapel. It was simple, sweet, and felt like a dream compared to the circus drug-fueled nightmare I'd been through. I thought maybe, just maybe, life was finally cutting me some slack. Clinton and I settled into our married life, blissfully in love and building a future together. For a moment, I almost forgot about the shadows of the past. Little did I know the circus wasn't done with me just yet. Life's got a funny way of keeping you on your toes, and my toes were about to tap into another twist in this wild tale. You're probably wondering at this point if I spilled the beans to Clinton about my wild circus days. Nope, not a chance. I figured it's best to keep that whole bag of crazy locked up tight. When we'd shoot the breeze about our families, I'd just toss out the orphan bomb, you know. Mentioned I didn't really have a clue if there were any other relatives lurking around. I mean, it wasn't a complete lie, so I tried not to feel too bad about it. Clinton didn't dig too deep, thinking my life was already sad enough without a proper family tree. And honestly, I was cool with that. Happy in the now, building a new life with Clinton. I didn't want my past to rain on our parade. So now it's been a year into the wedded bliss. I was doing the laundry, minding my own business as one does. As I'm sorting through the clothes, what do I stumble upon? A pair of panties that sure as heck weren't mine. I went full-blown ballistic. I mean, who wouldn't? I stormed up to Clinton, waving those mystery undies like a battle flag. He's got this deer-in-the-headlights look, stammering like a kid caught with their hands in the cookie jar, and I'm standing there demanding answers, thinking, is this guy for real? Trust me, I was ready to unleash the circus fury on him. Clinton, care to explain these panties I found in the laundry? They sure as shit ain't mine. What? Agnes, I swear, I don't know how they got there. Maybe they got mixed up at the laundromat or something. Oh, save it, Clint. I ain't buying that load of crap. Who's the other woman, huh? Spit it out. Agnes, I'm not cheating on you. I love you. Those panties are probably just a mix-up. Mix-up? You think I'm stupid? I've been through enough crap in my life to spot a liar, and you're lying through your teeth. Agnes, I swear on everything Spare me, Clint. You're just like the rest of them, a big fat liar. You're overreacting, Agnes. Overreacting? I've been through literal hell. And now this. I won't be played for a fool. You're being irrational. Just calm down and listen. Calm down? You've got some nerve, Clinton. You cheat on me and you have the gall to tell me to calm down? And so the shouting match went on, each word cutting deeper than the last. The trust we had built seemed to turn to dust at that moment. When I looked at him that day, it was like I was looking at a stranger. Yeah, so things got worse, if you can believe it. Clinton just kept on cheating and I kept on letting it happen. It's like I was stuck in this messed up loop, you know. Every time I caught him, it was a new low. Lipstick on his collar, smelling like some other woman's perfume. He even had the nerve to call me by someone else's name. And sometimes he'd straight up admit it. And it wasn't like he was trying to hide it anymore. No, sir. He'd almost show it off, flaunting his affairs like some twisted game. When I'd lose it, he'd just throw it back at me. Clinton, seriously, why do you treat me like crap? What's your deal? You think I'm stupid? Honestly? Yeah. What? You heard me. I think you're stupid. Why are you still here if you hate me so much? Why are you still here if you don't like me enjoying myself? Are you high or something? It's because I love you. No, I don't think so. I think it's because you're obsessed with me. What? Admit it. You need me, babe. You're obsessed with me. Obsessed? You're out of your mind. Why would anyone be obsessed with a cheating jerk like you? Look around, Agnes. You got nothing without me. Now, why don't you just leave? I don't know, okay? But that doesn't mean I need you. Sure. Admit it, Agnes. You're hooked on me. You can't resist. No, I'm not. I just thought we could have a decent life together. Decent life with you? Come on, Agnes. You know you can't do any better. Maybe I can't. That's right. You're stuck with me and you know it. I didn't really know what to say after that. I mean, sure, I was furious, but this twisted fear of being alone kept me hanging on. I'd rather put up with his crap than face the ghosts of my past, you know? After a while of this crap, I stopped fighting it. I stopped questioning him. It was like I became numb to it all. More years rolled by and Clinton just kept at it. There were times when I'd catch him right in our bed with another woman and I felt like I couldn't even fight back. I was stuck, drowning in this mess I couldn't escape. It's crazy how fear can make you do things you never thought you would. So there I was, turning 36, thinking maybe things would take a turn for the better. Boy, was I wrong. Life decided to throw me another curveball. Clinton continued his cheating antics. It was almost comical at this point. Lipstick on his collar, late-night calls, the whole shebang. I barely flinched anymore. It's funny how you can get used to your own personal hell. Nights that used to be filled with silent sobs now felt eerily quiet. No more tears. It's like my soul has run out of water. But this is where things took a turn. You remember that toxic circus family I mentioned earlier? Yeah. Turns out they found me. Got a nice little DM on my Instagram saying, "Nice try," when they figured out I was going by a different name and decided to drop me a threatening note. I felt a chill run down my spine. How the heck did they find me again? I changed my name, my location, everything. It felt like they had eyes everywhere, and suddenly all the old fears and nightmares came rushing back. I tried to shake it off and focus on my life with Clinton, or whatever was left of it, but it was like trying to ignore a storm that was about to wreck everything. I couldn't escape the feeling that my past was catching up, and it was bringing a world of trouble with it. Turns out they weren't too worried about chasing me down all these years because they were too busy swimming in their pool of ill-gotten gains. But now the fuzz was about to rain on their parade. They texted me their threats, trying to squeeze me like an old rag. The grand plan? They wanted to wire their dirty money into my account, making me the fall guy when the law came knocking. Real classy, right? They weren't asking, they were demanding. "Give us your bank details, Agnes," they sneered, thinking they had me cornered. Threats echoed through the phone, promises of ruining my life if I dared to defy them. They even had the audacity to tell me I should be grateful they left me alone all these years and that taking the fall for all their crap was the least I could do since I abandoned them. I begged and pleaded, but they were heartless, and that's when the light bulb flickered in my head. A twisted plan was forming. "Sure. Wire the money," I texted back. I tossed my bank details their way like a juicy bone to a pack of wolves. They boasted about sending $500,000 anonymously, thinking they were the puppet masters pulling the strings. Little did they know I was about to turn the tables and make their puppet show a comedy of errors. Let the circus games begin. The next day, I approached Clinton with a carefully crafted email from none other than yours truly, but he didn't know that. I told him that I did indeed have some long-lost relatives tucked away in a European royal family. I said that the patriarch of this imaginary clan had kicked the bucket, and now yours truly was set to inherit a tidy sum. I laid it on thick, pulling out all the stops. The waterworks were in full swing as I poured my heart out to Clinton. He sat there staring at the email like it held the secrets of the universe. I made sure to sprinkle just the right amount of drama, making my tale of royal connections sound so convincing that he'd think Shakespeare himself penned it. As he read and reread the email, I kept up the act. Big eyes, sniffles, and the occasional quiver in my voice, I could practically see the dollar signs dancing in his eyes as he envisioned the grand life we were about to lead, thanks to my fictional royal lineage. Oh, the lengths I'd go to escape this circus of a life. Wait, what? Are you serious? This can't be real. You better believe it, honey. We're going to be loaded. How is this even possible? Yeah, I know, it's crazy. I never thought I had any family left out there, but now apparently we're looking at a whole new life. A better life. A better life is an understatement, babe. We're going to be loaded. Yeah, you're right. The amount of money they sent me is crazy. I'm talking in the hundreds of thousands over here. That's a game changer, Agnes. Are you sure this is real? Have you ever received the money? How much is your bank account balance after all this inheritance talk? Then I pulled up my phone to show him my bank account details, and I swear he was on the verge of passing out. But he saw the proof right there, and let me tell you, he just couldn't contain himself. Clinton got all giddy with his plans. He wanted to be the money man, saying he had the education for it. So it was best if he held on to the money. But you know, I could see that sneaky look in his eyes. I figured he had some shady moves in mind, but I gave him my bank details anyway. The next day I woke up to find divorce papers on my bedside table, along with this letter from Clinton. He spilled the beans about grabbing the whole $500,000 and proudly announced he was off to shack up with his supposedly better girlfriend. According to him, I was dumb for trusting him with the cash, and he made it clear we'd never see each other again and that he played me. He said that he was expecting me to be out of his house by sundown and to leave the keys on the front porch so that he could get his things and move on with his life too. But I was the one who was going to get the last laugh. In fact, that's exactly what I did. I laughed and I laughed and I laughed some more, realizing that this was exactly what I wanted to happen. This was what I was waiting for. I wanted Clinton to take the fall for that dirty circus money. This was going to be my payback for all those years of humiliating me and cheating on me. So after he made his grand exit with the cash, I couldn't stick around. They could trace it back to me, no doubt. But packing up my life at a moment's notice was one skill the circus drilled into me. So in a flash, I got rid of any trace that I'd been living there, tossed my clothes, lost my IDs, even burned some evidence of me ever being in that house. I even burned the divorce papers. I didn't even want people to know that Clinton and I had any sort of association, and I know that getting rid of all that evidence would make him go crazy trying to link things back to me once he would get caught. That was it. No looking back. I hit the road, running away from the life I'd been leading for the past decade. I'm not going to lie. I was scared that my plan wouldn't work. What with Clinton obviously trying to plead his innocence and then revealing that the money had actually belonged to a certain Agnes, who was his wife. But then I got some wonderful news not long after my little stunt. A few weeks later, I saw Clinton's face plastered on the front page of the local newspaper. He got arrested for fraud, all thanks to that money in his account. Safe to say, I was finally in the clear. I couldn't resist digging into the whole Clinton debacle. The story in the newspapers was like a script for a bad sitcom, and I needed to know all the juicy details. Turns out the police thought Clinton was a total nut job. I mean, who screams and yells about his wife being the mastermind behind some sketchy $500,000 inheritance? But the cops weren't buying into his act. No one inherits that kind of cash out of the blue. Even his string of girlfriends didn't help his case. They were clueless about me, thinking it was just another one of his wild stories to escape the clutches of accountability. Needless to say, his side chicks weren't too happy to find out that they weren't the only ones of his lovers, so they had no trouble cutting ties with him and making him seem like Jack the Ripper in the eyes of the law because of his deceit. When the police raided his place, they found no trace of any Agnes living there. Every move Clinton made to prove his innocence just made him look even more guilty. The newspapers were having a field day with headlines like "Mad Men's Imaginary Heiress" and "Delusional Husband on the Loose." They even mentioned that he was going for psych evaluations tagged as clearly delusional and a potential threat to society. Now that brought a smile to my face. I couldn't help but laugh at the sheer absurdity of it all. Maybe justice was finally catching up with him. There were quotes from Clinton in the newspapers saying things like, "Agnes, I don't know what you've done, but I'm going to find you and I'm going to get you." It sounded more like a bad movie line than an actual threat. Honestly, it was nowhere near as threatening or scary as the text I used to get from my crazy circus family. Needless to say, I was used to being threatened by people with actual power, mind you. So I wasn't scared about what stupid old Clinton would try and do to me. Besides, he was the one stuck in a jail cell, so I think I'll be fine. I decided it was time to pull off another disappearing act, change my identity, move somewhere where no one knew me, and try to live out the rest of my days without being watched or hounded by the ghosts of my past. Again, I was glad. I got the last laugh. Finally, I had the revenge I deserved after being cheated on for so long. I couldn't get revenge on my circus family, but at least I could teach that cheating scumbag a lesson. The more Clinton talked about his wife being from the circus and not being a usual member of society made him sound more and more crazier. Right now, I'm living in a different city under a different name, working odd jobs, glad to be free of him. And here's to hoping my circus family won't show up anytime soon. I just had to share my story because it was something that I never thought would happen to me, and I just had to say it. Tell it to anyone just so I could relieve some of this pressure, you know? Anyways, it must suck to be Clinton right now, thinking that he could play me by stealing all my money. Well, I guess that's just what happens when you're a greedy bastard and you want more than what you already have.